Okay, why don't we do one thing? I'll introduce the others and then we can play the trailers. Lights, please. So we have from the film Mighty Afrin in the Time of Flood, Angelos Rallis, who is also the director of the film. Um, Angelos Rallis started his career in TV and theatre in Greece before moving to Sweden and UK to complete his graduate and postgraduate studies in film, anthropology and photography. In 2006, he became an elected member of the International Federation of Journalists. His early work in video and photography was published in newspapers such as Ethnos and The Guardian and has been used by press agencies and NGOs around the world. So this film is actually a Bangla film, although directed by a Greek director. So that is something that I found really interesting about the film. The film is about in the disappearing islands along Brahmaputra River, often Afrin faces the ravages of floods in a coming-of-age tale. The film captures her resilience as she seeks her estranged father amidst the climate crisis, joining the ranks of new refugees, merging with dreams and reality. Are we ready? Okay. So let's move on to Dignity. So from Dignity, we have the actor Athanasios Halkias, who is also the lead actor of the film. And the film Dignity is about how on the day of their ailing father's birthday, the reunion of three siblings leads to an intense confrontation, after which their lives can no longer remain the same. So that is what the film Dignity is about. Chelsea, are we ready? So we'll just give Chelsea a minute, otherwise we can move on to the questions. So Chelsea, just pause. Chelsea, this is? Okay, this is Bela America. Can we have the trailer, please?
Temos uma carta para sairmos. E querem fazer um hotel. Querem fazer um hotel. Ia dar-te meus carinhos, andar caminho sem voltar a ti. Ia começar de novo e ter os teus pais, os pais. Carisma. Eles querem gajos. Cultura. São das regras.
Sei que faz parte do sistema, já custa de uma galera que tem cada vez menos dinheiro. Estou segura disto. Há qualquer coisa no passado daquela América que não vai ser.
So, lights, please. So I have on my right the director of the film, Antonio Ferreira. Chelsea next. Dignity, okay.
Αυτά που συζητήσαμε και που όλα έχουν τα μειονεκτήματά του. Είναι να πάει ο παπάς να ζήσει σε ένα
So that was Dignity. And we have with us the lead actor, Athaniosis Halkias. Can we go to the final trailer, please, for Mighty Afrin in the Times of Flood? Mighty Afrin in the have the director, Angelos Rallis, with us. So before I throw the floor open for questions from the audience, I'd like to ask each of you to talk about your film. And since we've just seen the trailer for Mighty Afrin, I'd like to ask Angelos for you to start.
Yeah. So I make an introduction.
Yes, if you can tell us a few things about the film that you would like to put forth.
Surely. Thank you. Hello? Yeah. Yes, Mighty Afrin in the Time of Floods. It's a film shot over 5 years, from 2017 to 22, in the broader Brahmaputra region. As probably you already know much better, Brahmaputra is a river that originates from Himalaya and ends up in the Bengali Delta, transcrossing China, India, and Bangladesh. It's a very wide river, probably 8 kilometers wide, and locals call it a sea. Due to the climate change, the melting of the Himalaya mountain range, and the severe and more intensively extreme weather conditions and cyclones, the Brahmaputra River is overflowing. The last 10-15 years, it's 6 months flooding the area. There is a lot of mud islands in the area, and millions of people live there. It's a very unfortunate place due to this situation, and people unfortunately cannot leave from there. So they have to stay on the islands and try to survive in these kind of conditions. So the film follows a young orphan girl as she prepares for the flood. She gathers stock, dry food. She creates all these bamboo platforms in the house so she can put her food and the livestock, and follows as the flood comes and the weather and the water reaches the top of her house. Mighty Afrin represents a whole generation of people who suffer the consequences of climate change and eventually get displaced into a city because staying in these areas is not possible anymore. Yeah, so I follow my protagonist as she gets displaced, among other people, to the capital of Dhaka. And there she lives in the margin of the economy, recycling valuables and burning rubbish. So it's a coming-of-age story and a climate crisis story as well.
Thank you. That sounds like something very relevant in today's times, I think. Moving on to Dignity. Athanasios, can you please tell us a little bit in brief about your film?
Yes. Hello, thank you very much for the invitation. Our film speaks for two brothers and a sister who make a reunion to celebrate the birthday of their father. They discuss, and time to time some problems arise, which are about the heritage and the house of the father belongs to whom, and who will take the profits and the money of the father, and so on. I think it's the family problems, not only Greek but universal. And in my opinion, I could say that we could extend these issues to all communities, and let's think the reasons that wars exist nowadays and all the days, because of the importance people give in money and wealth, and lose the relations, the real life, the real importance of our short life.
Yes, that is definitely something we all need to focus on. And last but not the least, we will move to Bela America and director Antonio Ferreira.
Hello, glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation. It's a great festival. Bela America is a film that addresses social inequalities issues. It's a story about Lucas, a poor guy that lives in a real poor neighborhood of a city. The film starts with him and his blind mother being evicted from the house because their building has been sold to build an hotel to tourists. So for that reason, he received the visit of America, which is a real beautiful woman, a former TV presenter that now, because she's really famous, she decides to run for presidency and become the president of the Republic. So she decides to visit this poor family to show how much she cares about poor people. And in this moment, Lucas, our protagonist, gets to know America. And he becomes fascinated by this beautiful woman, and he decides to use his biggest talent, which is to cook, to try to conquer her. So While she's on the streets campaigning for the presidency, he sneaks into her house secretly, cooks for her, and prepares great meals that he leaves on her table, hides himself, and waits she coming home and observes from the distance this woman tasting his wonderful meals. So this very rich and pretty woman starts falling in love with this mysterious guy that cooks for her every night but never reveals himself, without knowing that he's just another regular, poor, ugly guy from the suburbs. So this is the setup of the story, how two completely different worlds that usually never connects, because the upper class people never look really down to the working class people. And my idea is to make these two worlds come together and see how they react, and if there's any chance that they really somehow become together. Then you have to watch the film to know.
I'm sure that we wanting to watch it. And I think it's interesting to see how the crux of all these three films has issues that are universal across different countries and different societies. I will now open the floor to questions and take questions from the audience. I would like to start myself by asking you, Angelos, about your film. So the film is in Bangla. So climate change is a problem that is faced across the world, also in your home country. What is it that made you want to base the film in the subcontinent?
Yes, I think if you want to do a film about climate change, the subcontinent, it's really the first place to check, because it is an area, several countries, of course, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Nepal, or China. It's severely affected. It's some of the biggest mountains around here. So it's not a secret that we all see images from March to October in all over the world about a flood in Kerala, in Kolkata, Assam, and I was particularly attracted to the way that people react to all this flooding that lasts for several months. It's up, the water goes up and down all the time. And after visiting the area, I realized that there is a remarkable resilience and adaptation quality. So when a flood happens in my country, everyone in Greece, everybody leaves. Because, it will take some aid or, some help. Of course, some people could die, but usually people leave. But across the Brahmaputra, nobody leaves. People remain and adapt to living in the water, no? So I was particularly interested in this ethnographic element of the place. And I wanted to film all this process before the flood, preparing for the flood, during and after.
That's really interesting. Yes.
Like you said, you shot over a period of 5 years the movie. So I just wanted to know what were the real challenges in shooting in Bangladesh and these areas vis-a-vis Greece or other parts of the world.
Yes, it was a very complicated process because I have a background in photography and as well anthropology and ethnography. So I knew that in order to film all this process, I need to experience myself. So I came with my equipment and located in one of the mud islands. And it was not an easy process because, as probably you know very well, there is no electricity. To get to the shore is very far with these, wooden boats. It takes maybe 2 hours. So it's not really the place you want to be. So there was no hotel, there was no, sort of help. Also, it was very difficult to bring people with me to shoot because nobody was attracted in this kind of log line and storyline. No? So yeah, it was a process of staying with local people and relying on local people because there is no information that the flood is coming, that the weather is changing. There is just some radio, but usually everybody knows too late when the water is up or when the cyclone has struck already. So yeah, it was a dangerous process, and also it was dangerous because during the flood, it's not only the people that try to find the refuge, but also the animals. So there are snakes. There are, it is dangerous. I've seen a lot of snakes around me, and but it was important to stay with my character and try to film her continuously without interfering. The film is very visual because I stay on her, shooting maybe 10, 15 hours a day. It was very difficult to shoot in this way without electricity, so I had to have 30 batteries and send them 4 or 5 hours away every 2 days to charge. And as well, it was a challenge to explain to the community there what I'm doing, because most of these people have never seen a foreigner, and probably they haven't even seen someone from Dhaka or Delhi going there. So it was difficult to make them understand what is my purpose, and it was an ongoing process where I have to wear my lungi and walk barefoot like them in order to create this kind of confidentiality and trust. And of course, working with an orphan and a minor, it was another challenge. She had no experience of what is a cinema, never watched a film, never watched TV, no smartphones to have images of this world. So it was kind of a tribal experience for me. And I would say it's a lifetime experience, so I'm very happy, besides the film that's going very well, to have experienced that at first place.
Next question.
Hello, as you say, it's in a climatic change film. Does it fall in an environmental film, this one? Does you characterize as an environmental film? And second point, as the post-production was done in Greece or in Bangladesh? And why you choose an Asian continent as Bangladesh? And where you as the technicians were from Bangladesh or total crew is from Greece?
I'd like to request everyone to ask one question at a time so we can come back to you afterwards.
Yeah, it is a film about the climate crisis and how people adapt when there is no sort of easy way to receive help from a state, for example. I mean, it's 500 million people affected, so it's impossible that these people will be compensated. So it is a film about the climate crisis, and at the same time it's a coming of age story of the young protagonist, an orphan girl who is very strong and potent. She has learned from very young to fish her own food, to cultivate from the age of 4, where she remained pretty much on her own. So it's about the strength and fascination of this personality as well. Regarding the crew, what you said, as I said in the beginning, I shot this film on my own. I had only one assistant director with me from Dhaka, who would translate and assist me in everything. In the final 2-3 scenes, because the film starts from the Mud Island and ends up, it's a road trip over 5 years that the character ends up in Dhaka, and in the Dhaka scenes I used 4 or 5 people, local crew, everyone from the area, because it was important for me to control more the shooting in a very uncontrollable environment. It's a big city.
Okay.
Good afternoon. First of all, congratulations. Welcome to the festival. Mr. Ellis, you being from Greece, even Greece has a lot of problems like forest fires many times. So, from a natural calamity point of view, was it easy for you to do this film, because you have seen what happens in Greece regarding forest fires, and you've come to Asia and done this. So, how easy was it, or not so tough? How difficult was it?
Yes, thank you for the question. Actually, this is my next film in Greece, the wildfires. Every summer, it's over 2 months burning everything. It's very difficult to stop it. I have a background in photography, so I have visited for work different parts of the world: Iraq, Syria, Africa, and Asia. So it's not a challenge for me to work in this kind of conditions, because I have done it several times before. Of course, having the example of Greece lately, it is something that I used and to be able to understand more the complexities of the shooting. But to be honest, it was a lot of trial and error. I destroyed quite a bit of equipment with the water and the 95% humidity. Yes, but there was no other way to do this film. I had to stay on the water with my character and everybody else. And yeah, it was. I like to film from this sort of ground level, as opposed to from a boat or from a more dry situation. But yeah, it was a difficult. Technically, it was very difficult to get it right.
Hi, sir. Good morning. I'm here. So,
Oh, yes.
so here, right here in
Oh,
front of
sorry.
you. Hi, Angeles. So you being from Greece, and when it comes to the casting of this movie, casting a 12-year-old girl and making her work in the sets of this, I've seen a lot of films which is related to floods and all that. So how was it an experience for you to work with somebody who is 12-year-old inside a set, making them act at that scenarios, creating that flood experience as a whole? Maybe somebody who's new there would feel a fear to get in the water, right? So how did you get across all this and give that confidence to the cast of yours to do it for you? That's my question.
Yes, it was an ongoing process that took a lot of time to get it done. People in the beginning were cautious and thought that I'm coming with a lot of money to help, or so it was a process of talking with the elders in the community initially, and explaining the purpose of my presence there. Regarding Afrin, it was not easy at all to explain to her the process of the film. As I said, she's never experienced watching a film before, or a TV, or the kind of world outside her region. Initially, she didn't even want to. I was taking a little bit of video of her, and she didn't want to watch it. She thought she doesn't want to watch herself, or it's very strange. So it was not easy at all. It was very difficult, but the process of staying there and not going and coming, like to a hotel, for example, it was the decisive and crucial moment that allowed me to enter in the life of the people and stay there.
So how did you gain the confidence of the little girl?
Yes, it was through a lot of conversation about my purpose and her situation. And of course, the film is a cooperative film, and the social footprint of the film was very important. So we made a deal that after the film is complete, I will try to help her. Besides giving some money, that it's not something that will help so much over a long period of time. So we agreed that I asked her what she wants to do, and she wanted to go to school and to have a shelter where she could stay. So I found very good NGO and that provides all the support for children like Afrin, and she's there today and learning English, playing cricket, and she's a lot of prospect. Of course, it's far away from being anything perfect, but it's a good start for her, and I'm very proud of her.
I'm going to jump in here and field a question to Antonio. So, Antonio, through the protagonists, you were trying to portray the inequality in the society. That is what comes through your film. So, what is it that inspired you to deal with this issue? Is it the condition in your country, or is it anything in specific that inspired you to take up this?
Yes, I think it's we are seeing inequality rising as times go by. Especially calls my attention because societies somehow are getting richer, but and inequality is raising at the same time. So it was supposed to be the other way around. As long as the societies become richer, there should be less poverty. And what's happening, for example, in my country, in Portugal, and I think it's happening a little bit in the Western world, is that after a period where things seem to be getting better, now they're getting worse again. So, for example, if you go to Lisbon in Portugal, you will see hundreds of people just living on the streets because they can't afford a house, and you see more and more Ferraris or Porsches or something like that. So, and that's one thing that worries me. I think there's enough wealth in the world, or in my country, that everybody has a little bit of dignity, or at least a place to live. And actually, we're seeing the other way around, things getting worse. So it's my idea with the film, which is somehow, it's not really a comedy, but it's like with humor. I want to talk about these serious subjects, but with some sarcasm and some irony, so that people kind of look at it.
So that's exactly what I was coming to actually. So what I wanted to ask you was, do you think for the audience, such issues come across better through fun and jokes where there is a important message at the back, or as against a film which is completely serious and then maybe limited to a smaller audience? So as a director, what is your opinion?
Yeah, I think it helps. I think what we see in the society, people are working more hours. They come home later and later. They are tired, so they don't really want to, at the end of the day, when they have some free time, to look at something tragic or that reminds them of the problems they really have. So I think it's one way that maybe we can draw attention to these kind of subjects that need to be discussed and need to be addressed, is to approach him in another angle somehow. So, and I also like, I think I'm a guy with humor, and I like funny stuff. So I try to combine both of them.
Yes, we have a question there.
My question is to Mr. Antonio Ferreira. You just spoke and you touched about, very important topics of food, popularism, and as well as the humor aspect which you've brought into it. Now, these are topics which could be sensitive as well. So, as a director, how do you know to draw the line between where comedy becomes no, it's not funny anymore and it's something very serious, because as you said, it is a serious issue which is plaguing Portugal in your country right now. It's an issue which is plaguing the world as well. So as a director, you've brought in humor to it that would probably get a lot of attention. But where do you draw the line between humor and it becoming a little too serious?
Well, in the end, I mean, the main line for the film is like drama. It's a serious film, so the things we're seeing, they are for real. They make sense. They're not out of this world or anything. And the humor comes many times from the situation that it becomes a bit strange. I don't know. For example, the protagonist is really a poor guy and is cooking for these beautiful women in a really rich house, fancy house, but he doesn't have the money to buy the things to cook. So he hunts a cat, he hunts a pigeon. So he serves this kind of stuff to this beautiful woman. So, for example, for me that's funny. I don't know how people react, but for example, in yesterday's projection, when he cooked the pigeon, everybody was laughing. So it's more this kind of humor coming from the situation that it's a bit absurd, but everything that is happening is serious somehow. But then they make some absurd things that make you react. But it's more this very subtle humor.
We have a question from there.
My question is about many movies talk about two different worlds, be it class, caste, or any two different worlds for that matter, be it Titanic, be it many Indian classics. So, this story, in a way, is very, very unique and I must say, very unusually unique, wherein this guy secretively cooks for her and she mysteriously falls in love with the guy. So, where did you derive this thought from? I was really impressed with this thought.
Where did I get the idea?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, uh, the first purpose was to talk about these two different persons that never interacts, or at least usually the working class just serves the upper class, and the upper class doesn't really look you in the eyes, so you're just there. You could be someone. So and then we had I wrote it together with a friend. With the second film we write together, and he's the funny guy. I'm the drama guy, and he's the funny guy. So we really interact really good together. And we had this idea of using culinary, the cooking, as a way of seduction. And yeah, and then the story kind of started unfolding, always having in mind this central idea: two people from two different worlds that usually would never come together, and they just do because the guy hides himself. He doesn't really show himself to the woman. That's why she allows him in, because maybe she thinks he's just a famous chef or something that is in love with her because she's pretty, and sneaks into her house. And that's probably the reason why she allows this guy in until the moment she finds out who he is.
Thank you.
Athanasius, I wanted to ask you that this film is basically about a family. So, what was the process of getting into these roles? Because I'm sure creating that kind of a tension or that kind of a bonding between the cast, what was the director's process of, or what was the brief given to you as actors? What was your process of getting into the roles?
We have the chance to make a lot of rehearsals, and I could say theatrical rehearsals for 3 months. So we have the time to search the characters and to build the relations between them. That's was necessary from the way the director shoot the film. Um, he shoot 8 minutes without interruption, without stop, from different angles.
Okay.
And afterwards, they have a lot of job, of course, in the editing, and trying to destroy the theatrical form. He shoot the reactions of the actors, and not the faces who spoke. That's the process of filming. I hope I answered.
You did. You did.
Can I ask a question?
For sure, please.
Did you shoot chronologically the story?
Yes, yes. Every day was an 8 minutes time period, all the day shooting. And
On the story's chronology, so from beginning to end.
the same 8 minutes part too many times, and the other day the second.
Okay.
That, yes, but we have the chronological line.
Also, what I understand is that the issues in the family are probably metaphors for bigger issues that we face as a society or in the world. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yes, in our story, the children forget the relations between them and between them and their father, because they care more for the money, for the father's money and for the father's house. And that's, I think, that's the cause that all the world fighting each other. That's the way I extend the issue of the film to all the society. And what about dignity? I'm wondering, finally, who loses the dignity? The father who loses their children, his children, or the children who fight for money? It seems a little bit cheap for me. We don't worth it like human beings.
It's interesting how all three of you have spoken about dignity in different ways. You speaking about them not being able to leave, you talking about it in the money aspect, and you have a film named with the name Dignity over there, and you have a film about the inequalities and the dignity involved in the profession of the person. So that's a really interesting takeaway. Do we have any more questions? So I think with that, we've come to the end of the press conference. On behalf of IFFI and on behalf of Press Information Bureau, I'd like to thank all three of you for taking your time out and being here with us. And I think all of us enjoyed learning more about your films. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for being here.